The crypto market had experienced a lot of volatilities over the last couple of days. This is because of Donald Trump's new tariff policy, which has been causing havoc internationally. If you haven't been listening to the news in the last couple of days, let me explain to you what's going on. Hey guys, welcome back to Republic Labs YouTube channel. In this video, we will talk about Donald Trump's new tariff policy and how it's causing havoc internationally and also in the crypto market. Let's get started. So basically what's going on is that Donald Trump has just imposed and published a new tariff policy that will impact the international trade between the United States and Mexico, Canada, and China. The announcement was published from the White House, officially listed on the White House's website. As you can see here, there's an official publication titled "The Fact Sheet: President Donald J. Trump imposes tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China." It seems like deja vu because Donald Trump is messing around again with Mexico, meaning he still has the same stance of protectionism towards the United States. However, this might not be a good thing considering the tax he will impose to these three countries. As you can see here in the announcement, it stated that until the crisis is alleviated, referring to the crisis happening in the US economy, President Donald J. Trump is implementing a 25% additional tariff on import from Canada and Mexico, and a 10% additional tariff on import from China. The keyword here is additional, meaning he will be adding to the current tax imposed to these countries, making the tax from these countries higher. The main focus of this tax policy is that President Trump is taking bold action to hold Mexico, Canada, and China accountable to their promises of halting illegal immigrants and stopping poisonous fentanyl and other drugs from flowing into the United States. This means the two focuses are illegal drugs and illegal immigrants. This seems as deja vu because this is what happened in 2018. However, the focus on illegal immigrants in 2018 was on Mexico, and on China in 2018 the focus was on illegal goods. The tax imposed will have a huge impact because the international trade between Canada and US accounts for 67% of Canada's GDP, and then between Mexico and the US, it accounts for 73% of Mexico's GDP. However, it's not that high for China, as China is one of the key players in international trade, so it's not really dependent on the US. However, it still contributes to 37% of China's GDP. Donald Trump imposes this tariff policy because he feels that the United States is not having the upper hand toward this international trade, as these trades only accounts for 24% of the US GDP. Also, he feels that this is not beneficial to the United States. In 2023, the United States trade deficit in goods was the world's largest and over $1 trillion US. This means that the US lost a lot of money in this international trade, which is why the tax imposed is Donald Trump's effort to bring back those profits. So getting back to the basic of this tariff policy, if you don't know what a tariff policy is, a tariff is a tax on imported goods usually aimed at protecting local jobs and industries from foreign competition. The idea is that if foreign materials and products are more expensive, you'll buy more domestic goods. This is the idea of protectionism, which means that Donald Trump is trying to have US consumers purchase goods and services from US companies. Currently, the tariff policy has been running, but China is the first to take response towards this tariff policy. China took this problem to the World Trade Organization as it protested the tariff policy that can hinder the growth of China's GDP. China challenges Trump's tariff policy, considering the tariff policy as an act of discrimination. China has accused the US of making unfounded and false allegations about its role in the fentanyl trade. This means that China claims that the illegal drugs were not from their country, and the tariff imposed is just Donald Trump's act of discrimination towards Chinese companies. The Chinese government thinks that Donald Trump's tariff policy has no basis to be implemented, as the fentanyl trade and illegal drugs trade are just justification for the implementation of this tax policy. While the protest has not been processed yet by the World Trade Organization, the tax implementation has already been running. As you can see here, the US Postal Service briefly holds packages arriving from China and Hong Kong. This means that packages purchased from China is not currently being delivered to its buyers in the United States. However, this didn't last long, as the US Postal Service already resumes deliveries from China. But the current tariff policy of an additional 10% has already been running. Some analysts have agreed that the tariff imposed to China is Donald Trump's deep-rooted discrimination towards Chinese company and China itself. Because in 2018, during his presidency, it is clear that Donald Trump does not like China, especially because of the videos circling around him, which led to popular memes stating China. After the news that tariff policies are implemented, Bitcoin dropped significantly, continuing its decline from the previous week. As you can see here, Bitcoin went down around 5% and is currently continuing its correction. However, it recovered for a day. As you can see here, there's a green candlestick before continuing to red candlesticks. The green candlestick is a result of Donald Trump halting tariff policies on Canada and Mexico. As you can see here, President Donald Trump granted Mexico and Canada a 30-day halt on US tariffs after both nations agreed to intensify efforts to block illicit drugs or illegal drugs and illegal immigrants. Currently, Donald Trump himself is also reconsidering whether the United States should impose this tariff on Mexico and Canada because there have been a lot of critics towards this policy. However, currently what's happening is that the tax imposed on China has already been running, but the tax imposed on Mexico and Canada is currently being discussed. As you can see here, reported by the BBC News, the negotiation between the US, Mexico, and Canada is still continuing, meaning that the additional 25% tax might not be implemented at all towards these countries. Currently, getting back to Bitcoin's price, this negotiation creates uncertainties, which is why the crypto market hasn't recovered yet. If you're wondering why the crypto market is impacted by this tariff policy, this is because the overall tariff policy will create volatility and uncertainty in international trades. This is because the United States and China are key players in the international trade, meaning it has a lot of partnership and a lot of agreements with other countries in the world. If the two core players in international trades are fighting again like in 2018, this will create uncertainties in international goods and services, also impacting other countries. When international trades are uncertain, some countries' economy also becomes uncertain. And as you know, during economic uncertainty, a lot of assets tend to correct and experience sell-offs. This is because during economic uncertainties, a lot of people choose to keep cash rather than having assets. This is because they are preparing for the uncertainty, as having cash means that they are able to fulfill their everyday needs. So this means during this condition, investments are considered luxury goods, especially investments on riskier assets such as crypto and stocks. This is why the crypto market and the stock market is experiencing sell-offs. The current uncertainty and sell-off might continue. This is because we are transitioning to a new month, which is February. And during the first week of the month, there are a lot of sensitive data, especially from the United States. The United States still plays a huge role in the crypto market and stock market because their volume is the highest compared to any countries in the world. So this means uncertainties and data from the US economy can trigger volatilities for this market. As you can see here, on February 7th, 2025, which is on Friday, there will be publications of data such as non-farm payrolls, which are pays from companies that are not operating in the farming sector, and then the unemployment rate, which can determine the current economic conditions of the United States. There are a lot of data as well that will be published on that day, mainly focusing on employment data and production data. So this means that volatility might continue until next week or the next week after that. However, aside from the tariff policy, there is another concern regarding the US economic uncertainty. This is because of the concern of bans for the non-US companies in the United States. The first news is on DeepSeek, which is planned to be banned on the United States, which is similar to TikTok and also Temu and Shein. This has raised a lot of concerns towards the US economy being uncertain. There's a predicted shift of the United States having the value of protectionism to an oligarchy. This is because the ban of these non-US companies is triggering a perception that the ban of these non-US companies are done to promote US companies. As you can see here, if DeepSeek is banned, then OpenAI and Gemini can have their dominance again in the United States. Also on TikTok, if TikTok is banned, then YouTube and other US companies in the same sector can have dominance again. As you can see here, if Temu and Shein is banned, then Amazon and other companies similar to Amazon might have dominance again in the United States. So this has raised concern, but these are just still perspectives, as the shift from protectionism towards oligarchy cannot really be proven. However, the shift in perspective from protectionism towards oligarchy might increase economic uncertainty for the United States, especially considering there are talks of de-dollarization that is going on in the world, which could lead to US dominance and US dollar dominance decreasing in the world. However, if that does happen, considering the negative correlation between the US dollars and Bitcoin, the de-dollarization might promote growth for Bitcoin and the overall crypto market. Also, with the tariff policy, this means that there will be more restrictions on international trade, which can also promote the growth of crypto and decentralized technology. Overall, in the short term, in my opinion, this will be bearish. However, in the long term, if the problem continues, then this will be bullish for the overall decentralized technology. But overall, these are just my opinions. So, let me know what you think about this conundrum and comment your thoughts below. And if you guys like contents like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you guys are notified when we next upload. Cheers, guys!